The Donetsk Regional Police Press Service reports that on October 3, the Russian military shelled 14 settlements in Donetsk region. The Russians pummeled from aircraft, Smerch, Uragan and Grad rocket launchers, artillery and used anti-aircraft missiles. The bombardment destroyed and damaged 34 residential houses, a school, building base, filtering station and house of culture. Under fire came Avdiivka, Krasnohorivka, Bakhmut, Kramatorsk, Donetsk, Chasiv Yar, Pivnichne, Andriivka, Galitsynivka, Shevchenko, Klishchiivka, Karlivka, Komar and Kamenka. The press service reported that Russian aviation and Grad systems damaged an educational facility, apartment building and 16 cottages in Bakhmut. The October 3 Russian shelling killed one civilian in Krasnohorivka and injured two, said Pavlo Kyrylenko, the head of the Donetsk Regional Military Administration. He noted that one person in Kramatorsk and one in Bakhmut were wounded. On the night of October 4, the Russian forces carried out another shelling of a cottage area in Kramatorsk, said Alexander Honcharenko, the head of the Kramatorsk City Military Administration. It is estimated that 2 people were injured. The night missile strike on Kramatorsk cottage area again. We know of 2 injured persons, Mr. Honcharenko reported. According to him, houses and the school were damaged. According to Kharkiv Mayor Igor Terhov, on the night of October 4, Russia struck Holodnogirsky and Novobovarsky districts in Kharkiv. One woman was killed. He says that the Russian army hit industrial and infrastructure facilities. As reported by Oleg Sinehubov, the head of the Kharkiv Regional Military Administration, the bombardments killed a woman. In Novobovarsky district, the missile attack damaged critical infrastructure and caused a fire. The rescuers put it under control. Unfortunately, a woman, 46, was killed, he wrote. The woman worked as a guard. The Kharkiv Regional Prosecutor's Office reports. Allegedly, Kharkiv was struck by S-300 missiles from the Russian Belgorod region. Russian troops carried out a missile strike on a hospital in Kupiansk district. An anesthetist was killed and a nurse was injured. Oleg Sinehubov, the head of the Kharkiv Regional Military Administration, posted on Telegram. Information about victims has been specified. The building is almost totally ruined from the 1st to the 4th floor. Rescuers and law enforcement officers are working at the scene, he wrote. The missile was launched at about 16:50, the Regional Emergency Service reported. They wrote that the missile hit the ground of the Kupiansk hospital, damaging the building. A doctor was killed and a nurse suffered injuries. At 16:52, the rescuers received a notification about the fire breaking out after this attack on the hospital's 3rd floor. The doctor's lounge was on fire with the area of 20 square meters. The Post says the fire was put out at 17:30. The National Police of Ukraine showed the way a liberated village of Kamenka, Izum district, looks like now. It witnessed heavy battles from the first days of the Russian invasion. In one of the cellars, they discovered bodies of the village residents killed by Russian combatants. The police officers are currently working here to document the Russian atrocities, the police press service reports. All the houses and structures are exterminated. The village is not suitable for living. Local residents are absolutely absent. In the occupied village of Piskiradkivsky, Kharkiv region, the police found a room where the Russian occupiers tortured people. This was reported by the National Police on October 3. The police discovered another torture chamber in the cellar where local people were kept in inhuman conditions. People were intimidated, beaten and abused. The Russian occupiers left behind looted houses, dirt and sewage, a trademark of the Russian peace, and in the houses where they lived, tripwires on the door, the message says. According to the Borova Hromada, there is information about a member of the anti-terrorist operation who was tortured to death. They captured, held and tortured Ukrainian servicemen and local residents were. According to Dmytro Chubenko, the spokesman of Kharkiv Regional Prosecutor's Office, the Russian army arranged torture chambers in all more or less large population settlements. After the occupation, torture chambers were discovered in Izum, Balaklia, Vovchansk, Liptsi, Kozachya Lopan, Kupiansk, etc. Valentin Reznichenko, the head of the regional military administration, reported that on the night of October 4, Russian troops shelled Nikopolsky and Sinelnikivsky districts of the Dnipropetrovsk region 6 times. According to him, Nikopol was the most heavily shelled. About 30 shells from BM-21 and heavy artillery hit there. 4 men were injured. 2 of them are in the hospital. More than 30 high-rise and private buildings were mutilated. In one of the high-rise buildings, 4 apartments were destroyed. The city was left without water due to damaged power lines of the water supply station. More than 7,000 families are without electricity. Half of the power supply has already been connected. Line restoration works are ongoing. A school, a pharmacy, an industrial enterprise, a grain elevator, shops and administrative buildings were damaged by shelling. In Marhanets and Chervonogorivka Hromadas, the extent of the destruction has been ascertained. Previously, there were no casualties or injuries. Warehouses of an agricultural enterprise caught fire in Pokrovska Hromada of Sinelnikivsky district. Emergency personnel extinguished the fire. People are unharmed. For 2 days on October 1 and 2, the Russian military, in addition to the regional center and suburbs, also shelled populated areas in Zaporizhsky, Vasilievsky and Polohovsky districts. A woman died from gunshot wounds, and there are also wounded civilians. On October 3, Zaporizhia Regional Military Administration was informed about this with reference to the national police. Settlements in Polohy direction, in particular in Orichov, Guляйполе, Zaliznichne, Rivnopilля, Novodanilivka, Uspenivka, Novoyakovlivka and Verkhnya Tersa, came under fire from the Russian military. Dozens of destroyed homes in private and apartment buildings were recorded. As a result of shelling, a production enterprise in Guляйполе was destroyed, namely warehouses and agricultural machinery. In Vasilievsky district, Russian troops targeted the residential houses of residents of Stepnohirsk settlement and also damaged the territory of the local farm. An agrarian enterprise was damaged by shelling from the territory of Russia in Velika Pisarivka Hromada in Sumy region. This happened on October 3, Dmytro Zhevetsky, the head of the regional military administration, said. During the day, the Russians shelled the border twice in Okhtyrsky district of Sumy region. 11 artillery hits were recorded. People were not injured. Vladislav Nazarov, the spokesman of the Operational Command South, announced on October 3 that in the suburbs of Mykolaiv on the evening of October 2, Russian troops launched a missile attack on a civilian industrial infrastructure facility. Several buildings of the enterprise were destroyed. Late in the evening, an X-59 air-launched missile fired from a Su-35 fighter hit the objects of civilian industrial infrastructure and the suburbs of Mykolaiv. Production facilities, several buildings of the enterprise were damaged. There are no casualties.